You've been blaming your past. But what if your anxious attachment is about now? Here are 5 reasons you are anxious, and none of them are your childhood. You've been told your anxiety is rooted in childhood, that your attachment style, your panic, your insecurity, they all stem from something that happened decades ago. But what if that's only half the truth? What if the reason you are anxious isn't your past, but your present? Let me introduce myself. I'm Matusz. I help people regulate their nervous systems, heal their attachment wounds, and become secure in love. But what I've discovered through 8 years of coaching and my own journey is this. Anxiety isn't always about your past. Sometimes it's a message from your body about your life right now. Let me show you how. Let's start with something that will change how you view anxiety forever. Why you are anxious. Reason number 1. Your environment is triggering you right now. What if your anxiety isn't from your childhood at all? What if it's just dehydration, bad sleep, or scrolling too much? Before you label yourself anxious attachment, there is one place most people never think to look, and it's right in front of them. I have a 5-month-old son named Martin. When he cries, I don't think, oh yes, unresolved trauma from birth. No, I check the basics. Is he hungry, tired, overstimulated? I meet his needs in the present moment. So let me ask you, why don't you do the same for yourself? Your anxiety might not be some deep childhood wound. It could be your body screaming, I am not okay right now. You didn't sleep, you're overstimulated, you haven't exercised, you're living on caffeine and Instagram and wondering why you feel unsafe in love. This isn't trauma, this is a nervous system in survival mode. I call them the big 5. Sleep, diet, hydration, movement, and stimulation. Mess them up and anxiety becomes your default, no matter how great your upbringing was. So before you spiral into overthinking or self-diagnosing your attachment wounds, ask yourself, did I drink water? Did I move my body? Did I rest? Sometimes your body isn't broken, it's just dehydrated. Why you are anxious? Reason number 2. You have no compelling future. If your partner feels like you're everything, there is not romance. That's a warning sign. Anxiety in love isn't always about your past. Sometimes it's about your future or lack of it. Picture your life as a pie chart. Your energy gets divided across different areas: work, passion, friendships, goals, hobbies, love. Now imagine this. You quit your job. You stop creating. You lose your sense of purpose, and you don't replace it. What happens to that big empty slice of energy? It doesn't disappear. It latches onto the one thing left standing: your relationship. Suddenly, your partner becomes your entire identity, your only excitement, your only meaning, and every little text delay feels like heartbreak. You're spiraling not because you are broken, but because you have nothing else to look forward to. I had a client who used to work a fulfilling job. When he stopped working, he didn't replace that focus. It poured into his partner. Texting all day, constant reassurance, emotional overreactions. He wasn't born anxious. He became anxious because he had no compelling future. And you have heard that phrase in movies, you are my everything. Cute on screen, terrifying here in real life, right? Because if your partner is your everything, any threat to them feels like the end of you. That's not love, that's emotional survival, that's codependency. And the antidote? Rebuild your life beyond the relationship. Find something that excites you outside of them, so love becomes a part of your life, not your whole reason for living. Why you are anxious? Reason number 3. Your beliefs have changed. You weren't always anxious, but one belief, one expectation rewired everything. Sometimes anxiety doesn't come from your past, it comes from a story you recently accepted as truth. A few years ago, my wife and I took a couples coaching course, Sex and Intimacy. It was supposed to deepen our connection. But during the training, I was told directly that a real man should have infinite sexual stamina, should last forever, should be a machine. Now, here is the thing. I never had anxiety around my performance before that, but after that, every moment became a performance. I started overanalyzing, judging, monitoring myself like I was on trial. And you know what happened? My anxiety skyrocketed, my confidence crushed, and my performance got worse because anxiety kills presence. The issue wasn't trauma, it was the belief. If I'm not perfect in bed, I'm broken. And I've seen this over and over in male clients. No past sexual trauma, just new beliefs picked up from a podcast, a coach, a TikTok expert that rewired their nervous system with shame. Now zoom out. Maybe for you it wasn't about sex. Maybe you discovered attachment theory. And at first it helped, right? You finally understood why you cling, why you pull away. But then you labeled yourself. I'm anxious. They're avoidant. This is just who we are. And you stopped being curious, stopped growing, stopped giving yourself or your partner compassion. That's the danger of beliefs. They can free you or they can imprison you. This isn't your childhood. This is a belief that became a cage. And if you want to feel safe again, you have to dismantle the story keeping you anxious. Why you are anxious? Reason number 4. You are grieving, but don't know it. Sometimes your anxiety isn't about love. It's about loss. You think you are panicking over your partner, but what if you are grieving someone or something you never truly processed? Grief doesn't always wear black. It doesn't always cry or collapse. Sometimes it becomes panic. Sometimes it shows up as fear of abandonment. Sometimes it clings to your partner and whispers, "Don't leave me too." Years ago, I sold off my Bitcoin right before it exploded. I laughed it off, joked about it, but inside I grieved. Not just the money, but the future I thought I had, the identity I tied to it, the freedom it could have brought. Then, a few years later, my wife and I lost twins in a miscarriage. The grief stuck, layer on layer, unspoken, unprocessed. And suddenly, I wasn't just grieving the past, I was terrified of losing my present. I became anxious, clingy, hypervigilant in my marriage. Not because of my childhood, but because I hadn't dealt with the pain I was already carrying inside. Here is the truth no one tells you. Grief, when ignored, doesn't just go away. It turns into anxiety. It hijacks your nervous system. It makes every argument feel like a threat, every silence feel like abandonment. Because you are not just afraid of losing them, you are afraid of re-losing everything you never healed from. If you have had a breakup, a miscarriage, a lost friendship, a failed dream, you might be carrying grief disguised as anxiety. And until you feel it fully, safely, and honestly, your nervous system won't feel secure again. Why you are anxious? Reason number 5. You are keeping a secret. Here is something no one talks about. Guilt doesn't stay in your mind. It lodges in your body. You think you are anxious because of trauma, but what if it's actually because of something you have never fully owned? Secrets have weight, not metaphorically, literally. Your nervous system carries what your mouth won't say. For 12 years, I kept a secret from my wife. Early in our relationship, I cheated. I buried it, I justified it, I moved on, or so I thought. But my body didn't. I was anxious for years. I feared rejection constantly. I overcompensated with affection, control, performance, and I couldn't figure out why. My relationship was loving, but inside I was tense, scared, always on edge. Why? Because my nervous system knew what I wouldn't admit. I was hiding. And when you hide, your body sounds the alarm. Here is what I have learned. Guilt doesn't go away when you ignore it. it shapeshifts. It becomes overthinking. It becomes hypervigilance. It becomes anxiety you can't explain because consciously you have forgotten, but your body hasn't. When I finally told her the truth, everything shifted, not just between us, but inside me. So no, you don't have to confess everything to everyone. But if you are holding something in, if there is a part of your life or your past that you haven't made peace with, don't be surprised when your body keeps ringing the bell. Secrets are loud even when you don't speak them. Now, you might be wondering, what if it is about my childhood? Here is my answer. Only check the past after you have ruled out the present. If you are not undersleeping, overstimulated, disconnected, grieving, or holding secrets, congrats, you have earned the right to look backward. And if that's the case, if your childhood is the root, then yes, we go there. But we go there last. Because too many people spend 6 years in therapy when what they really need is 6 weeks of nervous system reset. And that's what I do. Now, before we get into that, if this resonated, hit the subscribe button or join my free weekly newsletter. Every week, I send grounded, practical tools to help you become secure, whole, and emotionally free. Now, let's tie this all together. If your anxiety isn't from your childhood, then where is it from? It is from misalignment, from disconnection, from living a life that your nervous system cannot relax in. Your anxiety isn't brokenness. It's your body saying, something's off. And if you want to stop spiraling, stop overanalyzing, stop burning relationships with panic, you need a full body recalibration. That's what I help my clients do inside my 6-week coaching experience. We don't sit and talk about what happened in 1997. We look at what's happening right now. We realign your nervous system. We build a compelling future. We change the beliefs keeping you stuck. We move grief through your body and out of it. We release shame without forcing you to disclose anything. And only then, if needed, we look at your past. If you are tired of anxiety running your life, if you are sick of blaming your childhood for a life that feels overwhelming, if you are ready to finally feel safe, apply to work with me. The link is in the description below. But only apply if you are committed. This isn't for the curious. This is for the person who is ready to get their life back. Because anxiety is not your identity. It's not even your enemy. It's a signal. And if you learn how to listen, it can become your roadmap back home.